for being here. Could you please tell us about yourself, your current work, so our members can learn more about you and your role with the Empower program?
Absolutely. I started working in this field in 2001. My first experience teaching English abroad was in Bulgaria. And that was where I learned that students would specifically leave their home country to come and study, not just as international students, but to find a safer environment. These students were from Macedonia and they were fleeing the conflict there at the time. And that was a eye-opening experience for me. It was also actually really a great experience because I was able to make a lot of friends from Macedonia. They were strangers, I was a stranger, and so we fit together pretty well. Um, that brought me home, and eventually I went to graduate school to study applied linguistics. And while I was doing that, I was working with Congolese refugees who were living in Champaign, Illinois. And it became very clear to me that the thing that these individuals needed most was English to advance their lives in the US. We had students in that program who were lawyers, teachers, had very prolific backgrounds in their home countries, but had also experienced a great deal of trauma, that they were dealing with and grappling with while trying to be immigrants in the U.S. and dealing with the cultural differences, the language differences, and the economic struggles. Um, I then went on to work with the city colleges of Chicago. And at that time in the mid-aughts, we had around 45,000 language learners in that seven school institution in Chicago. And again, it was the same sort of repetitive understanding that no matter how smart and capable or how much experience you have, you cannot build upon that in the United States if you don't have English. And that was sort of the starting point for Empower here. I think that when sort of asked, just anecdotally, what do immigrants in St. Louis need? It was easy for me to say English, but you can't just go based on someone's word. You need the evidence of that, and we were able to use both our resources, but also an undergraduate Gephardt fellow here who did some initial research for us to understand the landscape in St. Louis and who's living here, what do they need, who's providing access to language and other skills. And what we realized is that WashU has an English language program that's been here since 1970, serving the population of WashU, the international students and scholars. And we thought, why not take that expertise, and offer it to the community as part of the mission of the school that I work in, the School of Continuing Professional Studies, but also a part of the mission of the In and For um, goal that WashU has. Um, and I think that we kind of started from there. And I also was fortunate to have won a Newman grant from the library. That it's a travel grant, and it allowed me to travel to 4 countries in Western Europe in 2023. And what I did there was researching how are these countries focused on helping refugees sort of integrate into the society, but at universities. Looking at our other institutions who might be sort of sister schools to WashU in France, Belgium, Germany, and England. How are they providing programming for immigrants and refugees in their communities? And what I learned there, of course, was we need to get individuals to a language level that allows them to continue study. We have to involve sort of our wraparound service. We have to be looking at other supports because there are, these populations may encounter issues that affect their ability to study, right? And then also making sure that we're providing, coursework that is relevant, that is actually going to be meaningful in the community that they're living.
Thank you so much for talking about this and for your work. So you already talked about it a bit, but would it be possible for you to tell us about more about the population you work with as a part of the Empower program?
So our goal is that Empower looks like the immigrant population in St. Louis. So St. Louis has a variety of large refugee populations. We when we look at sort of historically, we have a very large Bosnian population here that started in the early 2000s. We also, like our more recent populations, are Afghan. In 2021, we have so many Afghan individuals living here, Ukrainians also from due to that conflict. We have many West African refugees here, including a large population of Sudanese and Congolese. And so we can also look at South American. We have a large Venezuelan population, Colombian population, and other individuals that are coming to the United States, under the refugee status, as well as other asylum statuses, and are groups who may be just looking to immigrate for better economic or social opportunities, but also often likely weren't looking to immigrate, but it became something that they had to do due to the living situation where they were from.
Do you envision scaling or replicating the Empower program model in other cities or university settings?
So we work with the President's Alliance on Immigration and Higher Education, and I'm a member of that group. And what what we would like to do is through that membership and participation that we're sharing with other institutions what's possible. So last March, we I attended a convening in Chicago from that group, and what I learned quickly through because I was doing a poster presentation there that WashU is the only institution in the space that's looking to sort of focus on members of the community that are already living here. That we're more focused on the over 25 age group compared to sort of your traditional student. And because of that, we are able to offer our program to more people. And I think that is something that I would like to see institutions consider. Most institutions like WashU have a School of Continuing Professional Studies that is focused on an adult population, a working population. And I think that when we know that, you know, the level of brain waste that occurs in with immigrants who come here, who have education and experience, but end up working jobs that don't utilize that. I think that we would be remiss to not put energy there. Of course, we want our younger immigrants and refugees to have access to an education like WashU, and that's important. But I think we also need to realize that, helping a helping an older adult, someone who's 25 to 40, is also helping their entire family. It's going to impact their kids. It impacts their extended family. And I think that when we sort of look at the impact our dollars can make, we do want to try to make the largest impact with the money that we have.
So, what early outcomes have you observed from the Empower program so far?
This is a great question. So since March of 2024, we've had 570 applicants for Empower. That demand far exceeds what we can offer, but we have enrolled 170 students in Empower since then. We have, in June of 2025, we had 81 students earn an English certificate at a level that they tested at. So that was at lower intermediate, high intermediate, and advanced. We have 12 students who have completed professional certificates in bioscience, healthcare transitions, and medical billing and coding. And we currently have 42 students enrolled in undergraduate credit bearing certificates in the School of Continuing Professional Studies. So I think that the numbers speak a little bit to our outcomes. When I hear, for example, yesterday, I received an email from a student in the program who said that being a part of Empower is like therapy. And well, I nearly cried because that is not at all what we set out to do, right? We're focused on English and educational outcomes and economic mobility, but to know that we've created a space that is helping our students feel a part of community and it's healing them, I just don't know that I could ask for a better outcome than that. And I hope that we see, you know, all of the outcomes we've set out for, but more of what the student said as well.
Thank you so much for sharing, being here, and also for your work. So, is there anything else that you would like to share with our FMI members?
I think what I would like to share is that, you know, this idea that if you build it, they will come. I think that we built this program and started this idea before we had secured funding. I think if you can showcase that you have a viable program that is going to make an impact in the lives of people living in the community, but also showcase that that impact can affect the businesses and the economic, you know, stability of a community like St. Louis, that is how you will achieve the financial backing that you need. And I think that more and more private entities see the importance of programs like this, and that's what I would like the members to take from this is go for it. And you know, well, the worst thing that can happen is it doesn't launch, but you've had the idea and it's ready to go for when it can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thanks for
much.
having me.